Welcome to my channel, my Sitecore Diaries. This is the second video of Sitecore 10 .NET Developer Certification Exam Preparation. I am Jitendra. If you are not subscribed my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Click on a bell icon to get a latest update. If you like my video, please click on a like button. Please share with others. Please provide a feedback by providing the comment. So let's start. Okay, we will start with the Sitecore 10 certification practice questions. Initially, we will start with the Sitecore basic competencies, which was there previously also with Sitecore 7, 8, 9 certification. So let's start. First question. Name the 5 official Sitecore documentation resources and their purpose. So this is one of the basic basic certification question. So there are many Sitecore documentation links which we are having. Sitecore Developer Network, which was there before Sitecore 7.5 and earlier. Now it is shut down on 06 March 2019. So this was the old developer documentation link. Then we have a now Sitecore documentation link, that is https://doc.sitecore.com. This is a new documentation link. Then we have a Sitecore developer portal, that is https://developers.sitecore.com. This portal is to enhance the developer experience. Then we have a Sitecore knowledge base for the knowledge base and supports any patches which will come here in the Sitecore support sitecore.com/kb. Then we have a YouTube channel of a Sitecore, Discover Sitecore. Previously it was a Master Sitecore, now it is Discover Sitecore. Then for the training and certification, we have a learnings.sitecore.com site, and Twitter, we have a twitter.com/vrsitecore. So these are the documentation sites for the Sitecore. So there might be a question which comes like what are the official document, or sometime it may come as like for what, like portal for enhancing a developer experiment, which portal you will be using. So that kind of a question we can have in the Sitecore certification exam. The next question is, what is the name of the feature that makes WCM possible in Sitecore? Okay, so what is the feature which helps you to do a content management? So that is experience management, X management. The another question which will ask you, it goes on the same track, like what do you need to take full advantage of the Sitecore experience platform? So if you want to take a full advantage of the Sitecore experience platform, then there are two things which we will require. First is the experience management, X management, and then you have a experience database, XDB. So these are the two things which you will need to take a full advantage of the Sitecore experience platform. Next question is, what is the primary location for all the digital assets in your solution? So basically where you will store the digital assets. So it will be a media library. Okay. Then what is the name of the component architecture guideline of Sitecore? So what is the design guideline for the Sitecore? So it is Helix. Which of the editors are used to modify an image in Sitecore? So where we can modify the image. So image can be modified in the content editor. You can modify it into the image editor, or you can use the experience editor to modify the images. So what are the developer focus feature added in Sitecore 10? So this question is related to the Sitecore 10, but it is the basic of a Sitecore 10. What it is asking is, what are the developer focus features which are added in the Sitecore? So a Sitecore with the containers. Okay, so we have a Sitecore with the containers in the Sitecore 10. Then we have a Sitecore content serialization, and third is the Sitecore ASP.NET Core rendering SDK. Okay, so these are the three things which is added. And if you must have seen, these are the competencies also in the certification examination which are added additionally. So first is the containers, second is the serialization, and third is the ASP.NET Core rendering SDK. What are the different options for Sitecore serialization introduced in the Sitecore 10? So it is, you can say it is a basic question also, or you can say it is a question on the serialization also. So there are two options which Sitecore provides for you for the Sitecore serialization in Sitecore 10. One is by the CLI command line interface, and another one is the plugin, Visual Studio plugin. So within the Visual Studio itself, you have a content serialization. So there are two options. One is by CLI and another is the Visual Studio plugin. What are the benefits of a developer focused features added in Sitecore 10? So whatever the features which are added in the Sitecore 10, like containers, serialization, or the code rendering, what is the advantage of that? So it increases the developer productivity, okay, because you are saving the time, so obviously it will increase the productivity. It lower cost of ownership and faster onboarding for a new developer, like containers, which can help you to onboard a new developers easily. So for new features, we can go through the release notes of the Sitecore 10, and also I have written some blogs. So I'm just switching to this thing. Okay, so this is the release notes which we are having. Okay, so you can go through the Sitecore 10 release notes to understand what are the new features which are added, what are the improvements which are done. Okay, maybe some question from here also. And if you want to check my blog, I have this blog written. Okay, I will be sharing all the links in the description. So for this video, I think this blog, the description is also important, because I will be sharing a lot of links in this blog for study purpose of a Sitecore 10 certification. Okay, so this is the blog which I have written, where I have just note down what are the highlight of the Sitecore 10 features. Just moving back. List the benefits of the participating in the Sitecore community. This is again a generic question from the Sitecore, like what are the benefits which we can get if you participate in the Sitecore community. So it provides you the complete sample modules for use. Your use can be found on the Sitecore marketplace. Okay, so Sitecore marketplace also now changed. Okay, but you can find those modules on the Sitecore marketplace. Then 24/7 help from the community members, including the Sitecore. Okay, while actively contributing to the Sitecore community, you can become the Sitecore MVP, which gives the related benefits. Are all item pages in the Sitecore projects? So we have seen that the basic thing in the Sitecore, that everything is items in the Sitecore. Okay, so all items are pages? No, I don't think all items are pages. The pages which are having the items which are having the presentation details are the pages in the Sitecore project. Then why does Sitecore recommended using a static HTML page as a friendly response for 500 error page? Okay, so why it is recommended? To protect your site from getting stuck in a loop if a major server issue occurs. So what happens when you have 500 error? You don't know what is that error. Okay, if you are using the Sitecore itself for the 500 error, it may be the problem within the Sitecore. Okay, so then it might have a loop. Okay, so if that loop happens, then your site may go down. This is the reason why Sitecore recommends that you should have a static HTML for the 500 error page. Which is the application from Sitecore Launchpad is used to implement additional languages in the Sitecore. So from where you can add the languages, it's a control panel. The next question is, how does Sitecore support each of the CMS pillar: data definition, content, and presentation? So basically in CMS we have three pillars. One is the data definition, another is the content, and the presentation. So how does Sitecore support it? How does the Sitecore create these three things? So for the data definition we use templates. For contents we use items. For presentation we use layouts and components. What are the three pieces of information do you require to create an item? So if you want to create an item in the Sitecore, what are the things which you will require? First thing is the name of the item. Okay, you should be knowing the name, or you should create a name. Then you should be knowing the template, from which template this item should get created, and then where to add that template. So we will need the location, the parent item, basically for where we need to add this item. So these are the three things which we will require to add any item in the Sitecore. How do you define data structure within the Sitecore? Okay, by using templates. Okay, so templates defines the data structure in the Sitecore. What is the purpose of the template sections? So we have seen that in the template we have a sections and field. So what is the use of section? It is to group the related fields together. So whatever the related fields are there, so those will be grouped in a section. What does template inheritance ensures? So reusability and maintainability. So if you have used the inheritance, we have seen in our videos that you have to see what are the common fields, and then we have to create the base template, and using the base using the inheritance, you should inherit those base templates in your template, so that you at only one place you have to create those common fields, and it will help you in the reusability and the maintainability. All templates by default inherit from the standard template. Two items based on the same template will have the same fields. So if you create two items, okay, from the one template, both the items will have the same fields. You have a title field in the event template, okay, and title field in the article template. What will you do to follow the recommended approach? So this is again, we have seen the same kind of example in the template define template video. Okay, so you have a title field in the event template, you have the title field in the article template. So we will create the base template which will have a title field, and then we will inherit both. Like we have a base title will be created in the base template, that will inherit into the event, and that will inherit into the article. So that is how we will create the templates, and this is the recommended approach by the Sitecore. When you have two templates with a description field which is implemented with a rich field editor, but both the fields should use a different implementation of the rich text editor, can you move the field to the shared base template? Okay, so you want to create two templates. Okay, both have a description field. Okay, so for the description field we have to use the rich text, but that rich text have a difference. So there are four different type of a rich text. Okay, so both templates are using the different field rich text field editor. So can we use it? Can we use the inheritance here? Can we create a base template? So we cannot use the base template, because when you create the field, that the type of a rich text field editor we have to provide into the source. So that source is only single, so we cannot use it. So here we cannot use the base template. So rich text field options, we can have four options. One is a rich text default, another is a rich text pool, rich text ID, rich text medium. So again, we have done one video. I will share the link of that video in this description. Okay, so if you want to use a different rich text editor, then you cannot have the inheritance. You have to create the two different templates only. To provide a rich user experience, what are some recommended practices you should use when you create a template? So you have to give the best user experience to the user. So what are the best practices which you should have? First is the provider default values, where we have seen that we can use the standard values to provide the default values. User friendly names and icons. So names, from the template name you should understand what kind of a name, what kind of a template we are trying to use, or what kind of item we are trying to create. And we should give the icons also. Limit the use of rich text editor. So if you use the rich text editor, user can add anything, any HTML in that. So we should avoid that kind of a thing. So again, we have a video created okay, on the how to improve the content editor experience. Okay, so I will be sharing the link for that. You have been hired to create a site for a company, and you must define the data structure in the Sitecore to create items and content. What should you use to define a data structure? Say in simple words, this is given a lot of scenario here, but it's a simple word. What it is asking is, what is that you will use in the what you will use in Sitecore to create a data structure? Obviously, a templates. Template B inherit from the template A, template C inherit from the template B. So B inherit A, okay, A into B, B into C. So which type of inheritance base explain the relationship between A and C? So A and C, it is an indirect inheritance. Only one parameter template can be assigned to a component definition item. Okay, so in the component definition you have only one template. What could you do if there are parameters in the two or more templates that need to be assigned to a single component and definition item? So you want to add a more more parameters. So in that case, you have to use the you have to create a new template that inherits from the existing template and have the required field. So I am sharing few links here. Okay, a few of the YouTube videos and the few of the blogs. Okay, those are related to templates. So let me switch again to the browser. So this is the playlist which I have in the our channel, okay, which is explaining the basic concept of Sitecore 10. You might have a few more here when I will be publishing this video. Okay, so this will explain the basic these are explaining the basic fundamental concept, okay, which we are now checking the questions on that. Okay, so you can go through this playlist, it will help you. Then there's a Sitecore site. We have this data definition template overview. It is also given the recommended practice section. In our video also I have explained this section. So you can have you can check this if you want to read from the Sitecore. Then this is another template which explain, another blog which explain what are the templates in Sitecore. Okay, and then this one also speak about the templates. Okay, so I'm just sharing those links which I found is very good. Okay, and just again moving back to our presentation. The next question: what item setting needs to be specified for authors to able to add content? Okay, so how can authors add a content in the Sitecore content tree? So we have already seen there is an insert option which we need to provide. If you don't provide the insert option, only the privileged user can add the items into the Sitecore tree. What happens if you don't set any insert option? So that is the next question. Okay, so as I said, only the admin and privileged users will able to create the content. Where should you insert option? Where should you set an insert option as a best practice? Most of the cases in Sitecore, if the best practice is always a standard values. So there are few links I'm sharing for the insert options. Again, we already have a video on this. Okay, so go here. This is the insert option from the Sitecore. Okay, you want to read, you can read it. This is the video which explain how to use insert option, help text and icon and branch templates. Okay, how to make a content editor easy, life easy. Okay, then we have this video. Okay, this also I'm sharing in going to share on the description. And then this is on the LinkedIn. This is another blog which is very good for the insert option, so you can also go through this. Okay, so these are the insert option and the basic standard values. Okay, let's continue. What is the function of the source field of a template? Okay, so source option, how will you use in the template? So it designates where the data comes from in the content tree. Basically it gives the data source generally. Okay, but it doesn't mean it always give you the data source. Okay, for the rich text based editor it is used for a different purpose, and we have already seen it. This is one of our video that why it is, how it is used. Okay, if you are not seen that video, I will give you the a link in the description. Why should you use a multi-list over a drop list? Okay, so when you can use a multi-list, so if you want to provide an option for an author to select a multiple data, okay, so you want user to select multiple data, then you have to use the multi-list. How can you ensure that a field in the view model is still editable? So in MVC we use a view model. So how will you make sure that your view model, the fields are editable? Using the method field render.render method. Okay, html.sitecore.field cannot be used for which field? Okay, so for rendering of where we cannot use this, I think it is for the complex field. Yeah, complex field like a checkbox. So it can be the thing that they will give you an multiple option like checkbox and other simple fix, any other complex field and these simple fields. So we have to select the option. So it can be like a complex field, or it can give the option like checkbox and other. Which of the following field types allows a content author to enter a stored and HTML fragment? So where we can add the HTML is rich text. Which three field types listed below, when used with field HTML helper, can be rendered inline editable in Experience Editor? So inline, which fields can be rendered? Okay, so single line text, image and date time. So basically when you have single line text, it is directly you can add it. Image, it will give you the image editor to update it. Date time, it will give you the calendar. How do you display the content of the field in the code? Like this is a basic code which we have, so where we use the field name. What can you use to translate fields and help text in the Sitecore client? So Sitecore dictionary entries we can use for translate field and help text. What happens if you use a field render.render method render as a multi-list field? So multi-list field store the data in the ID format in comma separators. I think it will render the raw values of the field pipe delimited. Sorry, it's not a comma separator, it is a pipe delimited GUIDs. How will you render a multi-list field? Okay, so by retrieving its value in the code. So as we see in our question that it is stored as a pipe delimiter with a GUID. So you have to get that GUID values, and then that from that GUID values get the actual item. What class will you use to retrieve the content of a tree list field? Okay, so it is a question of the complex field. Okay, what kind of a class we will use in the code? So that is .multilist field. So sitecore.data.fields.multilist field. What is the name of the pop-up window in the Experience Editor that can be used to edit field that are non-editable inline? So inline, like complex field which are not editable, how can you do that? Okay, what is the name of that pop-up window? A field editor. How will you enable the use of a field editor? Okay, by adding a field editor button in the toolbar. So you will provide a field editor button in the toolbar. That way user can edit the fields, not inline, but you will have a pop-up. When you use the field helper, what do you do when you want to ensure that field cannot be editable inline? So you do not want user to edit the fields in inline, then you have to disable web edit option. Okay, that you have to make it true. How can you edit a tree list in the Experience Editor? So tree list is a complex field, so you have to use the edit frame and add a buttons in the toolbar. So field editor button, a button type that can be added to the any toolbar shown in the Experience Editor. It displays a field editor. Okay, so it can be asked a question like what is field editor, or it can given a like they give you a statement and what is it. So it can be a field editor button. Non-editable field. What is a non-editable field? Complex field that cannot be rendered directly to the Experience Editor and cannot be edited inline. So when you use a complex field, it cannot directly render on the experience editor and it cannot be editable inline. Field editor. Field editor is a pop-up window available in the experience editor that allows user to edit the complex field. Okay, so we have already seen those questions. I am just giving you the other options, what can be the other kind of other version of a question. Field source. What is a field source? It's allow the configuration of extra properties in the template fields definition. Raw value of the field. What is the raw value of the field? The value which is stored in the database is the raw value of the field. Give an example of when you will use the disable web editor parameter when rendering a field. So you do not basically disable web editor is you do not want the user to edit that inline. It can be done for the title tag in the head of the HTML. It can be any other option. Okay, this is one option which I'm giving. What happens if you use the same field name in the template that is already used in the parent template? So you have a two. We have a question. Okay, we have a video created on specifically on this topic. If you have a two fields with the same name in the two different templates and which are inherited, what will happen? So you will get two fields with the same name, okay, which will lead to the confusion and it makes it harder to manage later. I will advise to you to watch that video. I will provide the link in the description for this, okay, where I have explained it in with the example. If you have a same field and section name in two templates, what happens? What method should you use to render the content of a text, date, image, link fields to the screen? So it is basically a complex field. So you want to render that, then you have to use a field render dot render. Why are you unable to render a multilist field to the page using dot render? It contains IDs, not readable content. Okay, so these are different versions of a question. If you see the other questions also, it is almost same. So these are the different versions of the same questions. How will you render a multilist field? Retrieving its value in the code and using it to create some output. I think this is a duplicate question I have added by mistake. What will you use the field source for? For what purpose you will use the field source? If you are using the image, it will set to a folder in the media library. It will open when selecting an image. If you use for the rich text, it is configuring the toolbar functionality of the rich text editor. If you use the drop link, it is setting the display options for the drop link. What happens when you set a field shared? If it is a shared, then there is a single version of our data for all versions in all language. On version, there is a one value of our data per language. So again, I have created a specific video for this where we will explain the difference between shared, unversion and version. I think I will recommend you to watch that. So these are the few links I will be sharing with you. Okay. Okay, the next question is, what is the best common practice location for content in the content tree that you want to reuse for the multiple sites? Okay, so now these are questions from the best practices. Okay, so what is the best practice if you have a content in the content tree that you want to reuse? Okay, so place the content outside the structure of the both the sites, so you in the content tree. So basically, if you have a website A, website B, then you put your reusable content in the different folder like shared and use that in the website A and website B. Okay, for the best practices, I have written one blog. Okay, so okay, go to the blog here, this one. So there are three, I think three part of these best practices for the Sitecore. If there are any questions from the best practices, you can go through this Sitecore best practices. Again, I will be sharing that in the description. There are three parts of these best practices. There is another one, this one, cmsbestpractices.com. This also explain, I think, 17 best practices. Okay, and every best practices there is a separate article. Okay, Then what are the different Sitecore server roles? So we are going to have one video on the Sitecore server roles. I have not yet uploaded that video. So what are the different server roles which we are having? So in the Sitecore we have a this is introduced from Sitecore 9. Okay, so we have a content delivery, content management, processing, reporting, and the standalone. So content delivery makes your web content available to your website contact. Content management enables content editors to create and publish content to a website. Processing extract the information from the captured and raw analytics data and transform into the form suitable for the use in the reporting application. Okay, so it is processes data. Reporting the pages are reporting data from various data sources such as a collection, reporting databases to use the Sitecore reporting application, for example experience analytics. And standalone, it has a single Sitecore instance default role. Okay, so those are the different Sitecore server roles. Again, I have written the one blog rule based configuration, and we will be also having the video on this rule based configuration, not now, maybe one or two in maybe next week you might have it. So this is rule based configuration. Okay, this explained the regarding the rule based configuration feature of Sitecore. This also explained. I have given the Sitecore link also, and there is a video also on this. Okay, so name some of the attributes that can be configured in the site node for a website. So you must be knowing site definition file where you have the site node. So I've tried to provide few of the options here, like name of the site, host name is the host name of the incoming URL, mode is enable or disable site, root path, the path of the root item of the site. Okay, the best thing you can do is I'm providing this link. Okay, so in this link you have the all the this is the blog which has explained all the attributes of the site definition. I think that will help you. Okay, which tag is used in the layers.config file to define the sequence of the execution config files. So this is another new feature of a Sitecore which is introduced in Sitecore 9, I think, layers.config file. Okay, so basically the load out an element in the layers config will define the sequence. Now previously what is happening in previous version, that you always execute the configuration files with the alphabetical orders, but there are some rules in the layers.config file. So there are new things, which is new configuration which is introduced by the Sitecore. They are created the layers, and within the layers also we can define what kind of when you want to execute which files. Okay, so on this I have written a detailed blog. I will be sharing that link, but in few weeks we will be having a video also on this topic. How do you patch in the changes to the Sitecore section of the web.config? So how will you patch in the Sitecore section? Okay, to use by using a patch file like .config patch file in app config include folder. Okay, so these are the few links which is related to these topics. Okay, so if I go to the browser again, so this is the blog which I was talking, where you have all the Sitecore attributes. And then this is the blog which I have written in layers and config, which explain that you will have the 4 layers in the Sitecore from the Sitecore 9 onwards: Sitecore modules, custom, and environment. And then there is explain how this layer.config is used, and here is an example of the load order. Okay, so we will have the same we will be having a detailed video soon on this topic. These are the few YouTube links which I will be sharing. So any question you can connect to me on my email address, jitendra@gmail.com. This is my LinkedIn ID. If you like my video, please like the video. Please share it with your friends. Please provide your feedback by providing the comment on it. Please subscribe to the channel. If you are not yet subscribed, please subscribe. That will motivate me to do this videos more frequently. Please click on a bell icon that will give you the notification of the latest updates. Thank you. Thanks for watching.